Parliament House. The Parliament House.
Hi guys, it's Alice J. Black here, the author of the Soul Seeker series brought to you by Parliament House Press. Soul Seekers is a series of novellas rooted in horror, and they are basically ghost stories. So Peyton's journey is the one that you follow throughout the series, and it's brought to you now in the full collection on paperback and ebook. I was first inspired to write Soul Seekers when I was given a task to write a strong female lead. Peyton seemed to grow in that moment for me, not only her but Olivia and some of the other supporting characters. And I knew when I first wrote her, when she became not just a character but a kind of a real person in my mind, that she was somebody that not only I would love but that other people could love too, somebody that they could come to understand and identify with. And I felt like I just had something a little bit special, and I knew that her story wasn't done. So I began writing the novellas with kind of certain settings in mind that I wanted to cover. So from that point I kind of had all that, and then I actually went back and wrote The Leak of Madness at the very end of everything as her pre-story, because I thought Peyton is so important that she needed that, and she needed people to understand how things had happened, why she was the way she was, and then to kind of be able to root for her going forward. Writing an entire novella series was never something I had in my mind as a plan to do at any point. But when I first wrote Peyton as a short story, I knew that I wanted to explore that, to enjoy her as a character and see where her journey led. I think that was important for me, because I thought she was somebody who had overcome a lot of obstacles and had managed to forge a new path in her own life. Obviously through the help of somebody else as well, but by her own willpower. And I think sometimes for me, when I think about my own journey, I know that without a lot of support that I've had going forward, climbing over my own obstacles and hurdles, I would never be where I am today. And I think maybe a little bit of myself is in Peyton in that way, as in the determination, the willpower to push on and make something of herself. So despite all odds, she was able to move forward and kind of look at her life in a different way, which I thought was lovely. A novella series for myself, it was an amazing experience to actually write it. It was difficult, it certainly had trying times, but the actual writing of the series was amazing. I wrote them all quite close together, because I was kind of in her life and in her journey at that time, and I couldn't let it go, and it dug its claws into us, and I just wrote until it was there in its raw form. So obviously the editing process was amazing, because it picked up a lot of things that I hadn't, a lot of discrepancies in the storylines and the timelines, which is something that I always have a bit of a weakness with. But writing that, I'm being given the space and opportunity to explore her journey and allow other people to read that and experience it themselves was really amazing. And I can't wait for you all to read it. I know I've mentioned that I've written a lot of different settings into the Soul Seeker series, and I kind of did that because for me, I always had something in the back of my head that there were certain places, certain settings that were so interesting that they deserved to be kind of looked at. And obviously writing the whole series, for me, I've loved writing every one of them, but if I had to pick a particular setting that I loved writing, it has to be the cinema. I've worked at a cinema before. It's something that I love. I love going to the movies and having that magic experience, kind of being in the dark, losing yourself in another world. I absolutely adore that. And I think for me, having Peyton go to a cinema, but kind of experience it from a darker point of view, where she's actually there to help somebody, because there's ghostly goings on there, was a really good way of exploring that. When thinking about a theme for the Soul Seeker series, I think there's obviously kind of a few things that carry through all the way, but I would primarily say is that everybody deserves a second chance. Peyton has obviously not been an angel in her previous life, in her teenage years, in her early sort of 20s, but her best friend Olivia sticks with her the whole way, and despite its difficulties knows that Peyton is a good person. She's just faced a lot of obstacles, and I think Soul Seekers kind of shows how important it is to believe in somebody, to be able to support them through a rough time in their life and to help them change if that's the kind of steps they want to take forward. But I would also say a really big theme is friendship, because without Olivia, Peyton probably never would have, well, considered changing her life, but also, struggled to kind of stick with that, because not only does it take willpower, but I think it takes the support of the people around you to be able to stick with that. So for me, second chances and friendship all the way. As a writer, something I've always struggled with is keeping track of things. I seem to have a really short memory span, and one thing I've found to help me manage the way I remember things and track things, particularly if I'm writing a longer piece of work, or as in the Soul Seeker series, an entire sort of novella collection, because you need obviously consistency throughout to make sure everything kind of syncs up. So one thing I do usually do is I have a Word document on the go at the same time as I'm writing. And in that Word document, I kind of track all the characters, any physical traits, any emotional responses, but I also use it to track settings, key story points, and I just find that really helps me, because I can kind of reference that, go back if I need anything, and it's always there in concrete evidence, which is just amazing throughout the process, particularly when writing something like a series. One of the biggest challenges I've faced while writing the Soul Seeker series has been timelines. I don't know what it is, but I'm not great with numbers, timelines, dates, that sort of thing. I can't seem to get things concrete in my mind enough to remember. So a couple of things helped throughout that. So I have my Soul Seekers document, whereby I kept a list of everything that happened, when it had happened, important points to remember, but also my editors. I have to say, without the editors that I had throughout the series, who were consistent, warm, amazing, I probably would have missed quite a lot. So I do owe quite a lot to those editors for helping me make Soul Seekers the best it could be. So thank you.